Okay, welcome to the final exam prep lecture. I hold in my hands your exam. This exam will be going live 24 hours after this video goes live. And then I'll be taking this video down. Your exam is worth 40% of your grade. There will be 40 questions that are true, false, multiple choice, and matching. There will be 10 short answer questions, and there will be one essay question. During the course of this video, I will be dropping 4 of the 7 questions that potentially could be on the exam. So pay attention and take good notes. Now, I'm not going to read the questions, and I'm not going to give you the answers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look at each question, and then I'm going to tell you what to study, what piece of information you need to know to be able to answer it. So, for example, you need to be able to understand the difference between short run and long run in terms of elasticity. How does elasticity work in the short run, and how does it work in the long run? So, the next thing you need to know is what is the Phillips curve and how does it work? I talked to you about sustained economic growth, and we talked about the idea of convergence, and you need to look that up, make sure you understand what that means. We talked about municipal bonds and how they pay lower interest than other bonds. Why? Why is that the case? You need to know the 3 functions of money. You need to be able to do a present value and future value calculation. There are going to be a number of logic questions. You need to be prepared to think them through. Take your time on those. You're only going to see one question at a time, and each of you will get them in a different order. You have 2 hours, but you can't go back. So you need to have your notes prepped in front of you, marks in the books, so you know where to look things up or whatever. You need to know the equations for GDP, each of the variables, which variables would probably be the largest or smallest. You need to know the equation of exchange and those variables, and you need to know the equation for the production function. You need to understand absolute and comparative advantage, how technology would affect employment and costs in the marketplace. You have to understand the opportunity cost of having growth in the economy. What are we giving up? You need to be able to, given a consumer price index, calculate the rate of inflation. Make sure you do it right. I've given you warnings on that. I'm going to be giving you some numbers you have to consider regarding trade between 2 nations. Make sure you know what a transfer payment is and can give good examples. Using the aggregate supply and aggregate demand curve, make sure you can figure out how the curves would change based on a bunch of different scenarios. Make sure you know and understand the importance of diversification and what it's used for and what it's not used for. And make sure you know and can understand the impact of government price controls of various kinds. Make sure you can calculate compound interest. How is the Federal Reserve organized, and why is it organized the way it is with the terms that they have? Make sure you can calculate the money multiplier and the reserve ratio. And make sure you understand when there's a tax, who's really paying the tax and who's carrying the burden of that tax, and how do we determine it? What are the things that make the price move along a curve versus shift a curve? Make sure you review your elasticity studies to understand the various kinds of inelasticities and elasticities, and make sure you understand deadweight loss and the various things that create deadweight loss. Make sure you have the perfect word-for-word description of government as given by your teacher, me. Make sure you can explain the different business cycle theories at a high level, and new Keynesians, monetarists, and so forth. The 2 reasons why economists do not agree on everything. And make sure you know the reasons for the efficiency wage theory and what is stagflation. I want you to know what are the different economic indicators that the Federal Reserve would target, the cause of negative externalities, positive externalities, and so forth. And I've talked about 4 different kinds of goods and their various attributes. And I gave it to you in a grid. Make sure you have all that information. And then you'll have your essay question. Now, as you noticed during this video, I have put up banners across the screen periodically telling you which questions you should remove from the list. Make sure you got those done. If you had any question about the questions you're removing from the list, they were in a file that I sent you in the announcements. You can go back and get those. All right, good luck.